Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, a township. You know, those government people that make laws and regulations that affect you out there.
That's right, Elgin. And whether you live in the village of Oxford, the village of Leonard, Addison Township, or Oxford Township, these are the people that you went and elected. Come, what, next November?
Yeah.
You'll
November
be able
5th.
to do it again.
Yeah, November 5th, I think, is when it's going to be the next big election.
The big election, that's right. Next November
But we
5th.
have, by the time you...
Don't get people panicked here.
Right.
But in any event, if you didn't attend, those meetings that the committees and commissions make decisions on, you could be in a taxing situation.
You could be. And what we watch for is humor, because there's humor in every meeting that develops. Either goes to the bottom, floats to the top.
I prefer the cream.
Yeah, he scrapes it off, we check it out. Then
We're not going to say what's on the bottom.
Right, no. The other thing, too, is that Minutes by Minute is an abbreviated version of what the meeting would be. The meeting sometimes can go on for an hour, 2 hours, 3 days.
No.
No?
Certainly 3 hours. I've been on a 3-hour meeting.
Yeah, they're rather grueling. But you get...
That's right. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, go ahead.
Well, I will.
Go ahead.
If you choose to, ignore us and our short summarized version of the meetings, you can go to our website and click on occtv.org. Click on programs once you're there, and everything is in reverse date order. As a matter of fact, there's a drop-down menu, and if you want for instance, the Village of Oxford, you can tunnel down to all the meetings for just that entity. And it will be short or long, and sometimes very long. But in any case, get your beverages and your chips and sit back in that easy chair and stay awake.
I was going to say enjoy, but sometimes not so enjoyable. Most of the time it is, but
Yeah, well,
it could be.
There's a lot of procedural stuff, and occasionally there's some pretty exciting stuff.
Yes, there is. Yeah, when they show up with, as you would put it, pitchforks and fire.
Oh, those are the good ones.
There's one more thing that happens here. One of us...
That's when you see democracy at work.
Right. Well, that's how you get their attention.
That's right.
You got to get their attention. And that'll usually do it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's one more thing that happens. One of us spreads rumors. I'm not saying who, but, pay attention closely and you'll determine what he's trying to do here, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a couple of meetings that occurred last week, shall we? Actually, October 17th was one of the meetings, and it's the North Oakland Transportation Authority, NOTA. Now, we don't report on them very often, but they had a rather interesting meeting, so I thought we'd go forward with it.
Good. They only meet about once a month.
Yeah, once a month. Most of these entities do once a month.
Well,
right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, when you wake him up, he catches them.
Except for planning commissions, sometimes they do twice a month.
Yeah. Or ZBA, sometimes every 8 months. Zoning Board of Appeals.
Well, you got to have an agenda.
Well, you do.
You got to have grist for that mill.
Yeah. Unlike you, makes things up. They can't do that. So they have to have
Well, that goes under the title of don't leave any airspace dead.
Right. Well, the second meeting I want to cover is the Oxford Township Planning Commission meeting, and that was held on October 24th. So let's go forward with the NOTA meeting. Bill Dunn is the chairperson. He also is the supervisor of Oxford Township. Yep. And Mike McDonald, who is the president and of the Leonard Council. There's a lot of dignitaries here. Chris Barnett, who's the supervisor of
Orion Township.
You got it. Okay. Margie Payne serves on the board. She's a trustee with Oxford Township. Joe Young, who's the village manager for
Lake Orion.
Lake Orion. You got it. Yep. Okay. Good job.
Previously of Village of Oxford.
Yes. I knew Joe. Still know Joe. I stop in. I see Joe occasionally. Don't you?
Well, I don't see him as often as you do.
Okay. I see him in restaurants.
I don't get out much.
You don't get out much. Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. You need to discuss with your wife. I mean, she'll let you out occasionally. Okay. And by the way, that was meant for you out there. She knows who I'm talking about, right? Okay. Margie Payne, Joe Young, Bruce Pearson, who's the supervisor of Addison Township, and Eric Sent, who is the trustee. And
Got a lot of decision makers there.
yes, they do. Lynn Gutherson, who is the executive director of the Pollyann, the North Oakland Transportation Authority. I got Pollyann on the mind here. I've been thinking about them a lot. I went down the trail the other day.
Did you come back?
Oh, I did. And this is before it was raining. It was a nice day.
Oh.
So, I mean, the colors were gorgeous. I'm not so sure there's even colors there now after the rain.
Did you take your compass with you?
Right, no. They have new signs now, so you can find your way around pretty well.
The one that says you're lost.
No, the one that says, this is Detroit, 2 miles.
2 miles. You've
Or this
gone
is-
too far.
This is Grand Rapids, 2
No, but
miles.
it's very well maintained. Some of it
It
is
is.
paved, some of it is very nicely graded gravel, but very nice.
Yep.
And it connects with the Paint Creek Trail.
And Linda Moran, who's the trail manager, does a great job of keeping it that way. So, now let's continue, being you sidetracked me.
Hey, wait a minute. Those were your tracks.
They were, yeah. Okay, so they did the pledge. Minutes for September were approved. Public comment? No public comment. Old business? None. See, we're moving along, aren't we? Okay, presentation by, her name is Christy, and she did an audit for HR, Human Relations company. And she had a number of things to say about it from a standpoint that she interviewed 15 files, and there's 30 employees, I believe. So half of the employees, she checked the files to see if they were in order. And everything looked pretty good. She made comments about privacy and security was a critical thing with employee files. And I mean, she just covered the general things, job descriptions, for example, created a new form for them with NOTA, and a job review form also, and also reprimand form, which I don't think we have here, do we?
Yes, we do.
We do? Where are you hiding it? Oh, I've never been reprimanded.
Want me to fill one out for you?
I think I'll pass that if you don't mind. I got a reason. You've been waiting for that one, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Oh, I thought so. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I didn't know that. Must be when you're not reprimanded, you don't get to see the form.
We call it job improvement.
Job improvement. Okay. So anyway, they've got it now, and they received and filed the audit report after some discussion. And by the way, that's when somebody mentioned on this board that they need to watch their finances because there's a lot of overruns lately from their budget. And by the way, they're going to talk about the budget here. And so
As long as there's something left to pay that last bill.
there is. And Lynn Gustafson said there's roughly $1 million in their account right now. So they're holding okay, but they just bought some property. And,
But individual budget lines were exceeded, is what you're
yes,
saying.
exactly. You would know that because you deal with the accounting functions here.
Yep.
Okay, and we'll talk more. We'll come back right after this. Don't go away. Hi, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. Did you know that Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99 are the only television stations you can find all the events and news just for you?
Oxford News This Week is your news closer to home. Catch us right here weekdays at noon, 6:30, and 11 p.m. and weekends at noon and 11 p.m. See you there. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're having a discussion here about NOTA.
NOTA,
And-
North
yeah.
Oakland Transportation
Yes,
Authority.
they have some pretty good dignitaries on this board. So, decision makers, as you would put it.
They don't have to refer to anyone.
They don't. Yeah, no. That buck stops pretty much where they're at, sitting in the chair. So they can make a lot of decisions here and move along. Speaking about moving along, old business. No old business.
Oh.
Okay.
Must have settled things last week.
They did. Yeah, or last month.
Or last month, right.
See, you said last month. They don't have them every week. Every month you said.
Okay.
Okay. Do you remember that? I didn't think you did because you really didn't say that. Okay.
I did.
You did. When did you say it?
Monthly meeting.
Oh, yeah, that meeting. Which one?
I inadvertently just said week.
Okay. Well, let's get on with it then.
But you wouldn't let it go, would you?
No, I wouldn't. Okay, so new business. New business it was about budgets and pay increase conversation. It appears that the drivers get paid $14.65 an hour. And so
Which is,
Bill Dunn said that he felt that rather than give a 25% raise, 12% raise here, 50% raise there, here a raise, there a raise, everywhere a raise, he said that there should be across the board 5%. He said it would be fair. That way they can keep tabs on the budget and not get it out of control.
of course, you have to look at when was the last time people got raises.
Right, and actually, Chris Burnett, he brought this up. He said, our people, I'm talking about NOTA drivers and so forth and expediters, don't get paid as much as they do in other communities. He said, we need to look at that and bring them up to level. Otherwise, you're going to lose good employees. This point is well taken. But there is quite a disagreement or discussion over this issue that according to Bill Dunn and Mr. Pearson, you have to have an idea of how to handle your budget and not let it run, as we would say, willy-nilly.
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 Pell-mell.
Right. So they felt that the 5% at this point would be a good thing to do. Now, as far as reviewing the executive director, Lynn Gustafson, as far as pay increase, that kind of thing, they need to review that a little more so because she's actually, they've actually integrated accounting function in with what she does as far as all the other work and coordinating people. So
She used to be the accountant there, wasn't she?
I don't know if she was, tell me more.
Well, that's what I've heard. Must have been something you said.
I don't believe it was me, but we'll work this out. Take a note. We'll check
Okay.
it later. But she's got quite a responsibility in maintaining the equipment, make sure that everything is up to par, all the equipment is running properly. She works on
Well, you got the
grant
operations
monies.
guy to do stuff too,
yeah, grant monies, but the operations guy doesn't do grants.
No,
And that's time
but he makes
consuming.
sure things running.
Oh, yeah, they do. And if they don't, guess who's talking to them? Lynn.
Oh, I thought it was you.
No, not me. No, that would be Lynn. So anyway, a big responsibility there. And so there was a major discussion over this, and when the smoke had cleared, or the fog, whatever, they decided that the 5% was sufficient at this point. But they would be looking at this in the future, and comparing
Well,
against what
sure.
other communities are doing.
And you might have a target over 3 or 4 years to reach a certain level, but not all at once.
Yeah, and right. And the point was brought up too by Chris Barnett that Lynn now not only does the accounting and the other functions that come along with 2 separate job descriptions, but she has over 10,000 square foot building, 20,000 square, that she needs to coordinate activities within. In other words, if you're going to lease, which they want to lease 10,000 square feet of it to someone else, another company, who's going to override that? Who's going to, control what goes on?
Who'll be the landlord?
It'd be the landlord. It'd be Lynn, more than likely. And so he pointed out, there's going to be other responsibilities coming down the line here as well. And by the way, we talk about rental. They do have a leaser, one of those people that want to purchase or lease the property for 10,000 square feet.
Wonderful.
Yeah, right. And they're going to pay a pretty good amount of money for the
Commercial,
yeah,
industrial,
it's commercial.
what?
It's commercial. It's actually you see these lines that they paint on the highway?
Yes,
Yeah, this is a striping company, and that's what they do. all
except
over the
last
state of
night in the
Michigan.
glare.
Now, they need those lines that light up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, instead of the headlights.
So that's
in your
what this
eyes.
guy makes?
Yeah.
Or this is
well,
what this guy does?
This is what they do. They have several operations, I guess, in the state of Michigan. They want this one as well to cater to, I guess, the northern area, pretty much.
Oh,
So anyway, it looks like this is going to go forward. But before it does go forward, some renovations have to be made to accommodate that. For example, a bathroom needs to be improved. There's one room that doesn't have any windows in. They want to make it an office. So that's got some changes there.
Will this be at the expense of the person that's leasing the property?
No, it's going to be at the expense of NODA. And the estimated cost for that is roughly $28,000 to $30,000 to do that.
How long will it take to recover that?
Well, I'm not sure. That would be their responsibility to figure that one out. What do you mean we're out of money? What? Raise the rent. I'm moving. That kind of thing goes on, you know. So
That's quite a bit of money.
it is quite a bit of money in renovation.
But then again, you're making it usable for not only this customer, but perhaps another one.
Right.
Just the same, you got to recover that money.
Right. Now, I know Aunt Martha's Storm Door and Airplane Company, they could do this for about $150. But I don't think that's going to work out, though. So it looks
That and
like
a lot of duct tape.
they appropriated, I believe, $30,000 in order to do this, move forward with it, because I understand that it was also approved, the lease was signed, and that's going forward as well. And it's a 36-month lease, which is a pretty good lease,
Okay.
providing they're still around.
But it's safely separate from the NODA facility itself.
Yes. And so there's also security involved. In other words, one of the doors has to be secured that now leads into that area.
Well, it's not just the building, it's also parking.
Yep, and it's parking, it's fire protection, it's all kinds of things. Pete Schultz will get involved in this.
Well, some things are at the expense of the person that's leasing.
Yes, but if you're leasing a building, in most cases, the individual, the property owner, is responsible for the fire protection and everything else that's required by the fire department.
True.
And also drainage situation. For example, are they going to have oil? If they do, they need a system of what they call oil separation, or oil separator. And there's special equipment for that. So those are all things that need to be discussed and agreed upon. Excuse me. Let me see. Lynn said that things that have happened so far and the property that they purchased is that the building has been painted,
Okay.
so it looks pretty nice. She said that the oil separator's been put in. I don't have a clue as to what that thing is. I've never worked with one of those.
You know,
Have you?
oil and water.
Oil
They
is a separator.
They separate after a while, you know,
After a while. I thought the oil always came to the top.
just like salad dressing.
Salad dressing does that too. Well, the next thing they talked about was bills, and they had a little over $26,000 in bills. And that was approved, of course, immediately because people are there, their little noses pressed against the window, wanting to know when they're going to get paid. So,
They didn't say what budget line was going out of whack, did they?
no, but it was just pointed out, I think, by Bill Dunn, you know, as one individual that was talking about it, that he's been watching the budget, and he's noticed lately because of the new building and so forth, they ran into some bills, some expenses they hadn't expected.
Well, budgets are basically best guesses, and you make adjustments later.
Yes, I watched you at work. I guess at this. This looks like a good guess. I'll do this one. And then you do the report. We did really well, except for this area, and this area. Hey, good report, by the way. Okay. They set aside the budget for future approval because there's some items such as the executive director's pay and that kind of thing that needs to come into play. And they also want to look at, you know, why the expenditures are increasing at the rate that they are. So, makes sense. They don't want to run out of money.
No.
Unlike somebody I know.
Well, they operate, you know, based on ridership. And maybe the ridership is up and it's not covering
It's hard to say.
expenses.
But you folks, you can catch this meeting, you know, by going to occtv.org and clicking on. Yeah?
Programs.
Okay. I got to wake him up occasionally, folks. But, come on. Yeah, check it out. You'll see the complete program out
What a
there.
thorn in my side.
Speaking of thorns, we'll talk more about that thorn when we come back right after this, folks. Back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols, and this is who?
Dave Kenny, what happened?
No idea. I think I just sipped my coffee and it kind of got caught in here. But anyway, so let's talk about the next meeting. We just talked about NODA, a rather interesting meeting they had. Now we're going to talk about the Oxford Township Planning Commission meeting held on October 24th. Mike Young serves on that board as the chairperson.
That's the second meeting of the month.
Yes. Tom Berger was absent at this particular meeting and with excuse absent. Jack Curtis serves on this board. Commissioner Nuff was also excused. He was absent. John Nold, Mike Spiz, and Ed Hunwick serve on this board. The recorder was Deanna Cushing for that evening. Now, they did the pledge, the agenda. They deleted one item. Jack Curtis said that the determination of a nonprofit use on R1 district requested by a representative in the community decided he didn't want to do that. And Chairman Young said yes, he had been contacted to withdraw the request. So Jack said we remove it from the agenda. Next was the minutes for September 10th, and they were approved immediately. Public comment, non-agenda items. Nope, no comments. Commissioner comments. Chairman Young said that he wanted to announce that C.J. Canacchio, with the leader, is joining the township as a grant writer
Yeah, he was the
Communications
editor
specialist.
for the Oxford Leader, and
for 20-some odd years.
yeah, I'm sure he'll do a good job as a grant writer.
I'm sure he will too. And he's going to be a communications writer too.
Oh,
And so he'll be working with the fire department, different places
Good.
We have within the township.
he knows how to communicate.
He knows everybody, so it's a good contact. New business, PK Contracting. Daniel Plantis was the individual that spoke, and he proposes to develop almost 8 acres of property on a vacant site for a satellite location for their main business. And that's the striping business.
And what? Oh, that's the
Or not
striping
striping. No,
business.
this isn't
No, it
striping.
isn't. That's
It's not. I'm confused.
NODA would be Lake Orion.
NODA
wouldn't
would be. Okay, this is equipment and material storage. What is it? What it is?
it? 8 acres?
Yeah, 8 acres. They're going to build a roughly,
Is it like a big warehouse or what?
yeah, it's going to be a big warehouse. There's also a...
Where is it located?
It's located on, let me see, where are we at? Hammer Lake Road,
Hammer or Hummer?
located north of
Hammer?
Hummer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really scrambling for this one, aren't I? Located north of Hummer Lake Road and west of Lapeer Road. You know where that's at?
North of Hummer Lake,
Yep. And west of
West.
Lapeer Road.
Lapeer Road being
Yep.
M24, or
Yeah. And it's zone District I-2, which is general industrial.
so would
That
it?
makes sense, right?
Yeah, still not quite sure exactly
It's
where
going
that
to
is.
be equipment and material storage. So they're looking at an 11,900 square foot building they're going to be building.
Good size.
Yeah, good size. Now, they don't go 12,000 square feet. You know why?
No, but I think you're going to tell me.
I just might do that. Actually, if you go 12,000 square feet, then you got a whole new set of rules in terms of safety and everything. Got to put
Then you go for two
fire
sixes.
protection systems in.
But then you go for 2 6s
All right.
with a breezeway.
Yeah, you might do that, but not in this case. They didn't want to expense, putting in a water system,
Yeah, okay.
overhead
Oh,
sprinkler system. So, and there would be other requirements too. That's kind of interesting. They have it cut off at roughly 11,900 square feet.
well, who knows when that rule was put in? Sometimes rules have been around for a very, very long time. And
I'm pretty
need to
sure
be
that
updated.
wasn't done in the 1800s or 1700s.
Are you sure?
I don't think they could build a building that
Are
long.
you sure?
Hello, look at Noah's Ark. I mean, he happened to do it. I guess they could do that. Okay. Anyhow, there's quite a discussion about it, and the gentleman said that he was in agreement with parking signs and everything that was required, and directional signs once you get into the property.
It is zoned correctly, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. And parking, or the parking lot itself, is actually going to be a combination of gravel and concrete around the building.
Did they say how many employees would be there?
He said they'll be coming and going. It's hard to say.
Transients.
So, yep. Transients. Uh-oh, don't spread that rumor. We have the FBI down here checking it out. Anyhow, site plan review. He said at some point they're thinking about splitting the property into 2 equal halves. But
Two 6,000 square foot.
2,000 square foot. Not the building. That's why they're planning the building in a certain location here, so they don't have to pick it up and move it. Okay, to answer your question.
It was an opening.
Yeah, I know it was. Yeah, I should have known better. Anyhow, so the concern was on the site plan. The setbacks were met. Parking spaces were adequate, that kind of thing. Dumpster, it was pointed out, need to have enclosure. And let me see what else. Signage, has to be up to par. And right now, it looks pretty good. So, and Jim Sharps also chimed in as the engineer, and he said the grading requirements are necessary. Septic field and well permits need to be purchased, and those kind of things. And he went through a whole list of things that the owners have to go through, and they all concurred with what Jim Sharp wanted. Fire chief said that there's nothing that he's really concerned about. He did talk about the 12,000 square foot versus 11,900. And let me see. Everything was approved, preliminary, and they were off and running. So what's coming up, speaking of off and running?
We do have meetings coming up in November.
Yes.
And on November 11th at 7 p.m., the Village of Leonard Council is meeting. And on 11/12, the Addison Township, at 6 o'clock, Addison Township Planning Commission. And also that same day at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Council, I believe. And on 11/7 at 7 p.m., the Oxford Township Planning Commission will be meeting. And at 6 o'clock on the 7th, the Addison Township ZBA. And like Elgin said, sometimes they meet, sometimes they don't. So you got to check.
Until then, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Catch you next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See you then.
Watching OCTV, and I'm Debbie Wren, President of the Oxford Chamber of Commerce.
And I'm Terry Stiles, Production Manager at OCTV.
And Terry and I, we want you to start your day off right. Every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., we want you to watch us on Daybreak.
That's right, we'll see you there.